Good morning. Cynthia Vogel here with Raw and Vulnerable. Last time we went through the reliving of the crash, and this time I'm wanting to continue on, but I'm also wanting to show you how I began to cope. I didn't always do it right. I don't know if there is a right. I don't know if there is a wrong, but I did it the way I did it. And this is Alex Cat. And because I did it the way I did it, I'm here. I don't know, like I said, I think I've been called by God. And so this is the way that I started to cope. So anyway, after the crash, I magically appeared at home. I don't recall how I got there, but someone apparently took me there. And I remember walking in, my son was a mechanic, and so he worked out in a shop, and so he was pungent sometimes. And I remember walking into his bedroom and just smelling him. And before, many times before, I was, like, oh, son, sweetheart. And it was the most wonderful fragrance I had ever smelled in my whole entire life. And I instantly missed him. And I fell on his bed and smelled his covers and looked at all the things that he had left. He never went anywhere without his backpack on his motorcycle. He never went on his motorcycle without his jacket on. And I found that incredibly odd even in that moment of numbness. I was like, son, why did you leave your jacket? And then, you're the thoughts that are just going through your head, you're like, what is happening? Why did you leave your jacket? And so then I went into the kitchen and I saw what he had just eaten, $2 Totino's pizza. I think it's $2.50. But these things were I don't even know if I have words. They were my son, and they were all I had left at that point, because he was gone. He went home. So people started coming to the apartment, and I started to panic. And thankfully, my boyfriend at the time knew me well enough that he looked at me and he said, "You want to get out of here?" And I did. So we left, and but before we left, I had to have something of my son's, so I took his motorcycle jacket. And I remember it being It was a really nice night. It was a really nice night. And the clouds were, there weren't very many, but they were like caricatures of a cloud. And the moon was shining. And I held on to his jacket, and I gazed up at the clouds, and I started talking to my son. I said, "Where are you? What are you doing? Where are you? Where'd you go?" You know, all the while knowing, I mean, I have an incredibly strong faith. And I know that my son is in heaven. But again, that coping, it's, you don't know how you're going to. And you know, to all these mamas that, you know, don't know if they're doing it right, or don't know what they're doing at all. None of us do. You're in the same boat. I mean, even if your circumstances were a little bit different than mine. You know, if your child was older, mine was 21. And, you know, we have to cling on to the fact that, you know, there's something better than this. You know, this is a fallen world. When Lucifer was sent down here, he was to reign this earth. And I'm certain you mamas and daddies that are grieving right now, you know this is not God's realm. And, you know, he has higher ways. We cannot lean on our understanding. We have small little pea brains. And the way he interconnects all these things that happen to us, it's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling. So, to continue on, we went to my boyfriend's apartment, and I was so tired. Oh my God. And so I laid down and I held my son's jacket, and Chip covered me up, and I fell asleep. He took a shower, and somewhere in that time frame, when I cried myself to sleep, I felt the jacket moving. And I thought, and I kind of was, you know, kind of awaking. And I said, are you wanting the jacket? And Chip goes, what? And I said, you were trying to pull the jacket out from under my arms. And he goes, you're covered up. And I was like, he does know I'm here. I was so, because that was one of our conversations on the way over, is he gonna know where I'm at? You know, I was just so worried. I didn't, you know, these are weird thoughts that go through your head, but I mean, you know, as a parent, you really, I mean, it's ingrained in you that your kid knows where you're at, because the first time they kind of get lost, they kind of panic, and you're like, no, 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 I'm right here, I'm right here. So that was one of the thoughts that I had in my head is, what if he doesn't know where I'm at? You know, and I was, you know, all the motherly ways that you think kept flooding in. And when something moved that jacket, you know, I don't know. I mean, the only thing I can think of was it was my son. And whether it was or not, that was the way I was going to cope with it in that immediate time. And, you know, yeah, people thought I was crazy. You know, I mean, I talked to him all the time, and people, he answered me, and I know. Oh, the woman's lost her mind. Oh, you know what? I don't care what people think. I didn't care what people think. And that was my baby. That was my son. That was my son that I bore. That was my flesh and blood. How can you not have that connection continue? It's impossible. So people could, you know, they could say I was losing my mind. That was fine. Maybe I was. Maybe I was. I don't know. But there's no one that can tell you how to cope, what is right, what is wrong. Nobody. Even a person that is in the same exact position as you, they're going to treat it differently. And so you shouldn't let anyone tell you that that is right or that is wrong, how you are coping with it. Now, we'll go further into this on the coping part, because I didn't choose some great ways, but I'm still here, thank you, God. But they were my ways, and they started off with good intentions, and then they kind of I don't know, they kind of morphed. You know, it's hard. There's no handbook on how to just have your son one day and poof, all your dreams and ambitions that you had, you know, your thoughts that your kiddo was going to grow up and bring grandkids and all kinds of like that, all stuff like that. I mean, it was just poof, gone. So, in the beginning, that's how I started to cope. I talked to him constantly. And I felt like he was answering me. And I really think he was, you know, and you mamas that feel like your person is talking to you. Who says they aren't? I mean, that connection is there. For me, it was a child. And for others that it might be, you know, a loved one. What says they can't? You know, everything is possible in this world. It's just amazing. It's just your gut instinct, your gut feeling, what you feel they are saying to you. And so I'm on a grief site on Facebook, and I posed the question, what would help mamas? And I got 2 really amazing responses. And one kind lady says, let me know it's not our fault. It's not. It's not. You know, I spent a good deal of time asking everybody that was at the crash, you know, what happened, what did this happen, did that happen, you know, where, you know, I even went to the crash site and tried to, I watch way too much crime TV, and I tried to reconstruct it, you know, I'm like, what was that, you know, where did this happen, you know, and could this have went different, and the fact of the matter is, I believe in the book of life, when the last page is turned, that's it. That's it. And I know all of you out there know that God can get pretty creative when that last page turns. But I believe, and I know it ticked me off when people said this, I believe everything happens for a reason. But when you calm down and that still small voice speaks to you, everything does happen for a reason. Now, whether it's in our small little pea brains to understand that, or if we try to, you know, reconstruct things to grumble about, you know, why? You don't have any control. That's what I have found out, and I hate it. But really, honestly, if you think about it, not having control takes a weight off your shoulders like you would not believe. I mean, I had this whole world figured out. Just ask me. I had it all figured out. And then June 18th, 2017, everything changed. Everything changed. So now, what do I get to do? I get to learn how to cope. I get to put one foot in front of the other and figure out how to make a life worth living. You know, we'll get farther into what I did to cope and you know, the dreams that I had for my son. But you know, whether they are young, whether they're an infant, an adolescent, a young person, a young adult, an adult, or even, you know, in my age, you know, if I died my parents would grieve just the same. Grief is the same. And it still revolves around all the same questions that we all have when someone passes. Why? And we can stay in the why for years and years and years. I hear so many stories, and I get so sad for these people that cannot understand that, you know, they want a why. They want a definitive why. I don't think we're going to get it. I just don't. I think you know, I believe in the Lord. I know where I'm going. And I know the moment I die, my son is going to be there with his big hand saying, Mama, hurry up, hurry up. I got this all figured out. We are going to have so much fun. You got to come over here and see this. You got to come over there and see that. They're going to be there for us. And all the questions are going to be answered. So spending time wondering why or if it's your fault is only going to keep you in the negative. And you got to ask yourself, do I want to get better? Do I want to live? Do I want to honor what my loved one would have wanted for me? I finally figured it out. I let God talk to me, and I heard, go on, move on. Lots of therapy. Find a life worth living. Because there were times, and we'll get into all that. There were times that I didn't want to go on. I had a lot of beautiful friends, a lot of beautiful family that wanted me here, that need me here. But just know, it does get better, and hold on. Don't do anything crazy. I know the pain is immeasurable. But you gotta want, you gotta fight. You gotta fight. And there's someone out there that will fight with you. Don't let the devil win. All right, so I pray for all of you. I'm so sorry you're hurting. We'll get through this together. Until next time, may God keep you and bless you.